Hey everyone, welcome to Quickscope Podcast, brought to you by Higher Passion Entertainment. We're your hosts, Eric, Serge, and Josh, and we're here to talk about our passion, video games. Today we're going to talk about some of the latest news, some of the new game updates, and some streaming news, and some news out of Sony. So this is going to be our main topic a little later, but wanted to start off with some gaming news. Really big right now, really big update. I've seen a lot of streamers getting back into it lately is Fortnite's Dragon Ball update, right? Everyone, I've just seen so many TikToks, so many memes already of just everyone doing the Kamehameha at like any point during the match. It's freaking hilarious to see. I love it. I love it so far. What do you guys think?
Yeah, dude, it's awesome, man. For Dragon Ball Z fans, it's like a dream come true, right? It almost feels like a dream for them. And I was saying earlier that Fortnite's probably going to stay in business forever because they did develop good marketing. Their skins are on point. They know what to do. They know how to sell. So it's a big deal for them, and I think it's a big deal for Dragon Ball Z fans too kind of get left behind in a lot of games. I haven't seen a
Yeah,
good Dragon Ball Z game in a while. So
Yeah, and it's like Sergio said, it's really smart on their part because it brings like Fortnite's a game where people like drop off and they come back when they see something they want to play.
yeah,
So Dragon Ball attracts like a lot of people. It happened when those Naruto skins came out too. People
yeah,
just jumped on and wanted to play those Naruto skins.
yeah.
Whenever that Marvel crossover happened, they're
Right?
just really smart with their marketing and the decisions they make.
Yeah, I think it's really cool how it's just like, I mean, we all know Fortnite's just a part of pop culture now, and like, yeah, I'm just thinking back to Marvel when you had like Thanos in game and you can do that
Thanos, yeah,
crazy beam. Um, Even I think one of the more recent ones I remember I was playing with my sister when they had the Mandalorian update, and there was like a certain part in the map where if you go, the Mandalorian will start shooting at you and sniping you. I was like, this is freaking awesome, right? Like
yeah,
the way they incorporate stuff that's popular right now and Dragon Ball, I mean, yeah, there's gonna be Dragon Ball fans all over the place. I saw people online who hadn't played Fortnite in maybe like years, right? Definitely months, but they're just like, oh man, there's Dragon Ball. Now I have to go back and try it out again. And it's pretty
yeah.
funny because I know we had a Matafied Gaming on here a couple episodes ago. He he's a Halo streamer. He's like, man, I really like Dragon Ball. I think I'm gonna have to play a couple rounds of Fortnite, no builds
Yeah.
at least, and just to get through and maybe get that skin. Just because it's just such an important part of pop culture and just those fandoms, right? So I think it's really cool seeing those updates. And yeah, like you said, Serge, I mean, they're gonna stay on top if they keep doing these types of things. They're gonna bring back the people for little updates like this.
And they don't change anything. It's almost like they take they don't try to modify their abilities or anything. Just put them straight into the game. Fortnite's that type of game that doesn't really matter. Everything's kind of wacky anyway. So
Yeah, like I'll
just
go
throw them in
in.
there. It's
Yeah, like I'll get in a game with my sister. And I'm like, what are this? Like, what are the fishes? What do I do with these new items? And even if she wasn't there to explain them to me, like it's pretty easy. You just pick up, kind of figure it out. You're like, okay, this is this new gun. This is how it works, and that's it. Like it's pretty simple to catch up. There's no like crazy like metas that you need to worry about or like crazy updates. Like especially with such a casual game like Fortnite, right?
yeah.
Like, yes, it can get competitive and sweaty and all that, but at the same time, I think Fortnite is more well known for its casual aspect, right? Um, Up next, I wanted to talk about. Josh actually brought this one up. I thought it was pretty cool. The new Lord of the Rings game that is in the works by Take Two's Private Division. That's pretty cool, and I don't know. Are we seeing kind of a trend here of like Lord of the Rings kind of making a comeback? There's the new Lord of the Rings show that's coming out, I think on Amazon, and I mean I'm pretty hyped about that one. I'm a big fan of the movies, also the books, and this game specifically is gonna actually be based off the books, not the movie. So I think that's interesting that they had to make that delineation, but at the same time, I'm I think it's pretty cool. I'm kind of excited for it, especially since they canceled that last Lord of the Rings that they're like the MMORPG that Amazon was making a while back. I think we talked about it. I was excited for that, but they ended up canceling it. So maybe that's what we'll get here. I'm not sure.
Right, and I believe the people that did the special graphics for the movies are the ones actually doing the game or making like the graphics for the game
Oh,
and
nice.
everything that's in it. So they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I mean, Lord of the Rings is it's an easy game to work on. I feel like there's so much you can do. It's such a immersive world. So
Yeah.
right? If it's anything like Shadow of Mordor, then
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
it's gonna be so good.
Shadow of Mordor came out so long ago too, and I
Right.
vividly remember parts of that game just because it was such a good, like, well-made adventure game, right?
Yes.
And yeah, I hope it just kind of keeps moving on that. I think it'd be really cool to see a new Lord of the
yeah,
Rings game, and we'll see how it turns out because there have been Lord of the Rings games in the past that weren't that great, right? Like I remember playing Two Towers, and it's basically just kind of playing through the movie, and
Right.
and that's it. So a lot of games that come out specifically for movies and such tend to do that, and they're just kind of money grabs for at the time. But
Yeah, I know that Smeagol game is coming out pretty soon.
that's it. Yeah,
Lord
yeah.
of the Rings Smeagol. So
So
we'll see.
so we'll see where this one goes. But yeah, I think it's worth keeping an eye out and maybe even getting excited for. So I know I'm getting excited for it. Uh, and another bit of gaming news: EA said we knew this game was coming, Madden 23, but they specifically said that they are determined to win over the gamers, the players, to win us over
mm.
with Madden NFL 23. You're laughing.
I mean, whenever what I think there's probably like a quote tweet about or some kind of tweet out there saying this every year. It's like almost like finding Trump's like old tweets. Man, come on, like what are they gonna do that's gonna change Madden?
Yeah,
Dude,
there's
there's,
not
there's
really
no
too
words.
much.
Like, what can they do? It's over. Like, sports games are just too played out. If you like them, you like them. If you don't, it's just
Right.
that's it. Pretty much it.
I don't know,
Yeah.
Right.
man. It's interesting to see them say this. I think the only way they can really win over gamers is by introducing something new, right? Like in some of the more recent NBA 2K games, you get more like the blacktop, and I think in the neighborhood, and I think that was actually really cool how they implemented that, and I got way more into that aspect of NBA 2K and
Yeah.
playing with my friends, and maybe they do something that like that with Madden,
They
but
should.
it has to blow up and it has to be done properly.
I mean, everybody wants NFL Street, NBA Street.
Yeah,
Like, just add an option, like a game mode, right? Like a way to play like
A
some
wacky mode.
backyard or wacky mode.
no rules.
Madden and sports games are just too serious. Like, it's just like there's no
That's
Like,
fun in it. It's just you're just pressing the button, they're shooting the ball, or throwing the ball. It's just like it's boring, man. It's
right. And the only thing
they,
that attracts me to like those sports games is when I create my own character and then I'm like putting
yeah,
points into him and stuff like that. And you
yeah,
see him progress. That's the only thing I like about
yeah,
the sports games when you progress your character.
yeah.
So maybe like add to that, but
yeah.
I
Yeah,
really don't know.
I know with like the FIFA games, a big aspect of that is creating your teams, right, and getting your cards. And I know Madden had implemented that in the last few years, but even with that, I don't think again that wasn't enough to win over gamers. I think
Yeah.
they do too much to change the gameplay, and thinking they're upgrading it from one year to the next, when in reality they're just kind of pissing off the gamers because you're already used to playing 2K a certain way, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden like the buttons do different things, you audible a different way, and all this. So I think I don't know what they mean by this. What could they possibly mean by we're determined to win over gamers this time?
I mean, like I said, the only way you're probably going to win over people is if they create some kind of game mode that is outside of Madden. If it's Madden
Yeah,
and it looks like Madden, it's almost like if it looks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. Like
yeah,
it just come on. Like, I don't know what they could do.
yeah,
There's nothing they could do that keeps it Madden that will draw gamers to it. If you're already playing Madden, you like Madden, you're gonna play it.
yeah.
That's
That's
fine.
true.
More power to you. But if you don't like Madden, you're not gonna go play it just because they add
Yeah,
you know
Maybe
abilities to change your team. Like it's not going to draw people, or
yeah.
I don't even know what.
I'm like maybe they should go the Fortnite route, just release like one last Madden and then just update it and put
Yeah, they should, and they probably make
because
more money based off like
yeah,
just everyone microtransactions is where you make your money. Like I just don't
yes,
understand why they're just wasting their time. They're working every year to make a new game when they could just be working towards making one good game and
Yeah,
right.
updating it over and over again,
I,
and adding new modes. And it's just that model's dead.
I know. I think it's interesting because you mentioned that, Josh, because from a Halo aspect, I mean, they came out with Halo Infinite, and that was their whole idea too, right? Like, hey, this is
Right.
gonna be the ultimate Halo game. We're not gonna come out for another one for like a decade, and we're just gonna keep updating this one. And that kind of, so far, it's kind of crashed and failed it because they didn't make
Yes.
the updates fast enough,
Right.
Yeah,
right? So,
yeah,
man, when it comes to this one, I'm not too sure what they're gonna do.
yeah.
What I do think would be cool is if they do more like competitive aspect to it, kind of like you see in the NBA 2K League. So I was literally downstairs right now on ESPN2, and I went to click on ESPN2 because I didn't understand like the title it said, and it was literally the NBA 2K League, and people get hyped in that. Like I watch it on Twitch
Mhm.
once in a while, and I like how they put it together where it's actual NBA teams that own the esports team,
Yeah,
and it's not just like one person playing against another person as that team. It's each individual player plays a character in the game. So then it's actually like 5v5, or this one was the 3v3 tournament. So I think if they start pouring more money into that and really focusing on kind of the competitive play online, because let's face it, when we're playing Madden, sure, well, it's like, for especially our generation, is more like a couch game, but it's competitive. Like I remember hanging out
yeah,
at Eddie's house doing our own Madden 2K, NBA 2K and Madden tournaments, and just getting through and getting really
yeah,
competitive. Like I think that's what people want to do. They want to be able to compete at that level. So
yeah,
if EA starts pouring some money into that, maybe if they start like focusing on their partnership with the NFL, and kind of getting more people that actually watch football to play the game, and kind of watch some of the tournaments that happen, I think it'd be more interesting for the gamers overall. I think kind of
yeah.
approaching it from that aspect would be really cool.
I think their better marketing is more focused towards sports fans rather than gamers. Because
That's true.
I don't know. I feel like gamers, they're not going to play Madden. They're not going to play 2K to be competitive. It's just
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
there's
Like
only so far you can go.
it's on Game Pass and I never play it.
Yeah, but if
Yeah.
you're a sports fan, I think if they target sports fans, they're going to
Yes.
want to
Yeah.
play with their team. So they're just I feel like they're Madden and 2K are more for the sports rather than
Yeah. But
gamers, I guess, in a sense.
yeah, I think if we can just get Madden to get to like that esports level that the NBA has gotten to
Yeah,
and is
they should
growing.
have it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they should be able to get there. I
yeah,
I think it's funny you mentioned that too, though, because I hear a lot of gamers say like, "Oh, like what do you play?" If you say Madden, they immediately like, "You're not a
yeah,
gamer."
because it's like
Yeah.
the skill gap is big. Like if you're good at Madden, you're really really good.
Oh
Like it's
yeah,
hard to be really good at Madden. So the skill gap is high, but it's just like there's only so much you can do, I guess, as an actual game. It can kind of get kind of boring.
yeah, and
Yeah,
and I think it's funny because I don't see very many streamers streaming Madden. I do see a couple NBA 2K streamers, but for Madden, it's like you have very vocal streamers out there who are into football and say that they play Madden. They just don't stream it because also, I mean, people don't want to watch it,
Yeah, the
yeah. Like you
only
right?
said, it's
streamer
a couch game. It's a
Yeah.
game that you want to play against someone. You don't want to be watching someone play. It's just kind of
yeah,
yeah.
the only streamer I watch that plays Madden is SFan.
Oh yeah.
He's on OTK. I don't know if you heard of SFan, but
Mhm.
he role plays. So he
Oh.
pretends he's the coach. So like before the game, he does like a pep talk, and then people donate like if they're asking questions, like if they're reporters. So it
That's
like engages
hilarious.
like the audience. So it's really fun to watch. So I mean, but that's how he does it. Like if I'm just
Yeah.
watching and they're just playing, I'm not gonna watch it. It's just like he makes it fun to
Yeah.
watch.
He
I
makes
So
it fun. He makes it
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the key thing here.
Yeah.
but
It's
he's
just
the only one I know that
yeah, yeah.
streams it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it's
and there's
also something else that would make it fun, which I know because the NBA 2K League focuses on is like the trash talk, because
Mhm.
they'll mic up the people and you can hear them like calling each other
Yeah.
out, and it's very much the trash talk that we would say to each other if we were playing in the same room. So
Yeah.
and so that's the entertaining aspect of it too, right?
Yeah.
So I would watch a Madden match if it was, let's say, like Tim the Tap Man versus Nick Merckx. Like that'd be hilarious to watch, right? And they would go at it and kind of make fun of
Mhm.
each other just because they have that relationship, and it'd be entertaining to watch. But watching just one of them play on their own wouldn't be that entertaining.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with them having a niche, and
Yeah, yeah,
there's Madden fans, and that's fine. Focus on them. Those are the ones that are going to keep you alive. But trying to target new people is just, I don't think it's beneficial
Yeah.
for them.
yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what EA does and how they plan on winning over the gamers. So only time will tell, right? Speaking of Nick Merckx, this one was actually kind of crazy. Nick Merckx promoted his maskless event on Twitter in response to TwitchCon's new health guidelines for TwitchCon. So those that didn't know, TwitchCon, it happens here in San Diego. I'm from San Diego, and TwitchCon, basically Twitch tweeted that their new health guidelines, because a lot of people were asking about this, are not going to be, you have to wear a mask and you have to either be vaccinated or had a negative COVID test. So there was a lot of back and forth on it. I don't know. I was trying to look through the tweets, and I don't know if it's an overwhelmingly positive or negative response to it. I think the majority are just kind of like, okay, but Nick
Yeah.
Merckx is one of like
Mm.
the highest replies on that tweet, and he basically just said L, like it's an L for Twitch, and then he went on and retweeted that and said that FaZe is gonna be doing their own event in San Diego. They're expecting like, I don't know how many people, like 300,000 people attending or something, and they're promoting it as a maskless event, and they're not going to be checking vaccination status or anything. And it's in San Diego, so it's kind of crazy that he just directly just goes against Twitch on this. But I think it's interesting. It's interesting to see. What do you guys thought on it, Josh? What do you think? I think you brought it up to me.
Yeah, because at first like Twitch had no guidelines and then there's a backlash on that. So
Yeah,
then they decided like, okay, we're gonna put these guidelines. So and then there is backlash on that. So it's like you can't really win or lose, or well you can't, pretty much you can't win in that
yeah,
situation because people are gonna either like, okay, like, because I don't believe everyone's vaccinated yet, so probably those are the people that are mad.
yeah,
But but
And
or they don't want to wear a mask. I mean, I really don't see a problem wearing a mask, but people just go overboard, like, oh, like wearing a mask kind of thing. So
yeah,
yeah.
it's really weird situation. But I thought it was funny. Nick Merckx like replied and promoted his own event
yeah.
in
It
that.
was almost like satire,
So
like
right,
promoting
it's
our
like
event,
like
100%
don't worry, you could
maskless.
come over to our event.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
So
mean,
yeah,
it's kind of, yeah. I guess Nick Merckx always wants to be against the grain. He's that type of person. Yeah, that's fine, but can does it, like Josh said, you guys said it. Does it really hurt you to put on a mask to get tested? If I don't know,
yeah,
300,000 people in an event run 2 months. Yeah, what could go wrong, right? I just I've heard people trying to do that before and it never works
yeah.
out. So it's
So
kind of it's not smart, but I
yeah,
mean, more power to you. If you can make it happen, make it
I
happen.
know. Here in California, technically, you don't have to be wearing the mask indoors and all that. But I think the state guidelines is it's strongly recommended for any event that's more than like 10,000 people, 5,000 people. So that'd be
Yeah.
like sports events and stuff. It's just strongly recommended. But when it comes to a private event, they can enforce the rules that they want. A few weeks ago, I mentioned it on our last podcast, I went to Comic Con at the San Diego Convention Center where TwitchCon is going to be held. And we did have to wear masks. It was mandated. Everyone has to wear masks, and we had to do either a negative COVID test or proof of vaccination. And it was not that hard, and it was super simple. I mean, I'm vaccinated, so it was a little easier. But they tell you, here's the free app that you download, and you update your vaccination card to it, and you just go through, you scan it, and then they give you your wristband so you can get in. And literally that was it. Once you were inside, literally everyone was wearing a mask. Everyone. Like, even inside, I know a lot of people were tweeted like, you can't control people wearing masks inside, it's not gonna happen. I mean, Comic-Con did it. And I'm not even kidding. Even the people that were there in like cosplay and anything, like, I think I saw one dude that he didn't have it, he wasn't wearing his mask, and like security came up to him and was like, hey, can you put your mask on? And the guy was just like, oh, I forgot. Like, I forgot to put it on, and he just put it on. And I honestly like believe him. I think he was like eating something, and then just forgot to put it back on. And it wasn't even like rude or anything. He was like, okay, I'll just put it back on, and that was it. And literally the entire event, everyone was wearing their mask. Even like the speakers and stuff, they would just take their mask off before they would go up and talk. And yeah, I mean, it was crazy to see that many people, to be honest, like following the guidelines and wearing the mask. Because I thought kind of along the lines of what a lot of these people in the comments of this tweet were saying, like, oh, people aren't going to listen. Once they're inside, they're going to take off their masks. And I've seen that happen at like concerts and like sports events and stuff, when we first started having those again. But not at Comic-Con, and the San Diego Convention Center like found a way to actually like enforce those rules. And so I mean, it looks like it's gonna happen. Like, that's how it's gonna be for TwitchCon.
Yeah, it's just a matter.
I think it should be. So.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's just a matter of the staff like reiterating. You keep telling people they're gonna listen. And they're gonna get tired of someone telling them to keep putting on the mask. So they'll probably just keep it on. But I mean, at the end of the day, I guess the worst thing that they did is make the change 2 months ahead of it. So people already made plans, months ahead, and they don't want to go. So now they don't have an option.
Yeah.
So
that's the worst part. Thing.
They changed it within like 2 months before.
Yeah, it was just a few months before they just posted a tweet. By the way, like, your badges are on the way. It's
Comic-Con, so it's a little different. I guess.
Yeah, that's true. And also,
TwitchCon, like,
was there a TwitchCon last year?
No, there hasn't been. The first one was the one in Europe.
Okay.
Yeah, the one that just happened a couple months ago.
Okay.
Or last month, I think, right?
And that one had a COVID outbreak, so that's why I think they're doing this. So
maybe. So it's actually interesting because with Comic-Con, well, I mean, we bought the tickets in 2019, and it just had been canceled all the way until now. So people had bought their tickets back in 2019, and then now we're being told a few months before the event, like, hey, we're sending your badges, and by the way, you have to follow these protocols. So there was some backlash for Comic-Con as well, but I mean, for the most part, it was fine. But it's on also only really in the convention center, because with these huge events, especially Comic-Con, same thing's gonna happen with TwitchCon. It's right at what's called in San Diego, right in front of the gas lamp district, and that's like where all the bars and the nightclubs are and all that stuff. And they don't require masks inside, so it's kind of funky that there's gonna be all these TwitchCon events happening outside of like TwitchCon proper. There's gonna be like right outside the door, and they're not gonna be requiring masks. So I kind of understand where people are coming from there too. Like, my wife and I and our friends, we didn't attend any of those any of those things outside of Comic-Con because we're like, it's gonna be too much, and COVID's a thing, and we just weren't comfortable with it. But at the same time, we weren't like judging everyone that was going out and doing that. We just kind of went back home, did our own thing, right? And but those people, like, a lot of people are complaining that that's what's gonna happen anyway. So why even require the masks? So
you can't. I guess you can't just be like, oh, well, that's gonna happen. So why are you doing this? It's just kind of, they have to stick, which they should have done it originally. It's a big event like that. It should have been masked, especially in California, at least. But like you said, I mean, no one's judging people. It's just, hey, if you don't want to go to this and it really matters to you that much, then just don't go. That's fine.
I also don't know what the refund policy is right now. Like,
I'm pretty sure they're not going to refund people.
Yeah.
I think once you buy the ticket, it should be like, we're allowed to make rules based on health guidelines, et cetera, et cetera,
Oh,
et cetera. So
probably.
it's like, yeah,
In like their
I,
terms and conditions. Yeah.
yeah, it has to be in there, pretty sure.
They should be able to resell it to somebody, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's true.
you can resell it.
So
Yeah. I'm not sure if it sells out the same type of way. I think tickets are still available. I was looking a few days at them. But
Yeah.
it's like $130 a day, or like 250 for all 3 days.
Yeesh.
So
I
yeah.
mean, don't be surprised if the Nick merch things goes ballistic, just because like I said, 300,000 people. If that's what they're expecting, or even if it's 100,000 people, um, in 2 months, that sounds like disaster. So I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if some shit went down that day.
We'll definitely we'll see. But yeah, I mean, I was pretty excited for TwitchCon regardless. I think there's gonna be a lot of cool stuff coming out of it. Um, as there is every year. I wonder how the meet and greets are gonna work if they're coming out with these health guidelines. If you just like 6 feet away from the person and take a picture, I don't know. Because a lot of TwitchCon is meet and greets, right? Like that people wait in lines just to meet their favorite streamers.
yeah, but in
Hmm.
Europe they were next to each other taking pictures. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah, I
it'll be
think
the
it's. I mean,
same.
they're gonna have masks on, right? So
Yeah.
I guess in that sense, it's like, if you don't know how to take care of yourself now, I guess it's been already
Yeah.
2-3 years.
I mean, I'll admit that I found it weird that because I mean I'm vaccinated, but that doesn't mean I can't get COVID, right? Like my wife is
Of
vaccinated
course.
and she got COVID, so I always found it weird that if you were vaccinated, you didn't have to show a proof of a negative test.
Yeah,
Because I thought
it's
it would just make more sense to just be like across the board, you have to have a negative test to get in, regardless of
yeah.
vaccination status. But I don't know. I don't know what's going on
Uh,
there. That's what would
uh,
make more sense to me personally. But in the end, it's a private event. Twitch can do whatever they want with it, and that's what they're going with. And it seems like it was more of a response to some of the people, especially in California. This is TwitchCon is in California. We know in California it's a big deal to be vaccinated and do all that. Even though San Diego is kind of one of the more conservative cities in California, it's has a lot of people that are getting vaccinated and follow mask mandates and really want to be safe out there. So, in my opinion, the safer the better. But again, people have options. They can go to the phase event instead, right?
You're
have
right.
fun.
So we'll see. We'll see how that works out for them. All right, wanted to get into our main topic now. So sounds like Sony is making some moves. Um, and it's kind of interesting because Josh brought up to me that Xbox was actually teasing that Death Stranding was gonna come over for Game Pass. Um, I think that's really dope. Death Stranding, one of my favorite PlayStation original games, came out like 2019. It was a fun game. I played all the way through once. For me, once was enough. I wouldn't say it was like my game of the year or anything, but I know that Death Stranding coming to Game Pass would be a big deal, just because we've already seen some other PlayStation originals, Spider-Man most recently. We got God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn. Like we've seen all those come to PC, but it's almost always been through the Epic Store or Steam. But this one coming to Game Pass and being hinted at is actually really interesting because the way Xbox, well, the reason it's a rumor is because Xbox changed their logo, or I think Xbox for PC on Twitter, Instagram changed their logo and said they love landscapes in games, and the landscape that they put behind their logo was actually a landscape from Death Stranding. So that's why people are like, oh, this is they're hinting at something here, but yeah, I don't know.
And
Did you guys ever play Death Stranding? I know you guys are more like
No.
Xbox PC players, so I don't know
I
if you
watched
ever
a playthrough
you watched the
on
playthroughs. Yeah,
Twitch. Yeah.
yeah.
I think I watched Lyric play it.
Okay,
So, but I think the reason why it's coming to Game Pass is because the publishing rights for PC is not PlayStation.
right.
So it's a different publisher, so they can release it to whoever they want, pretty much.
Nice.
So, and that's why, and I think they probably have like a deal probably with Xbox to release it on there. So, and I don't, I'm not sure if like the God of War game and the New Horizons, if that was published by Sony too, the PC port.
Yeah.
But probably that's the reason why that hasn't gone to Game Pass or anything. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, we're probably gonna hear news pretty soon
Yeah.
if they just close to that. So
Is
Yeah.
it? Do you know if the publishing rights is Kojima?
it's not Kojima.
Is not Kojima? Okay, because
No.
I know he's the creator, but he's also been working on something with Xbox recently, right?
Yes.
He had said that he there's this game that he's wanted to make for a really long time, and now he can leverage Xbox's like technology to be able to bring that to everyone. So I was thinking maybe if it was Kojima that was the publisher, maybe that's why they're like playing nice with Xbox, and they might be bringing it to Game Pass. But if that's not the case, then I don't know.
No, it's just a different publisher
Okay,
through the PC. So
Yeah, it's 505 Games.
505
505.
games.
Okay,
Yeah.
So it's the same game. It's just a different publisher. So
that's really interesting. I think it's more interesting too because we've recently heard news about like Xbox accusing Sony of paying developers to block games to get into Game Pass, right? So, and I thought that was nutty. Like I always thought, yeah, maybe that could be a possibility, but like having Xbox coming out and like accusing Sony, I think that's kind of crazy to think about, right? Like, hey, like PlayStation is literally paying developers to not put their games on Game Pass. That's
it's
nuts.
I wouldn't. I
It
mean,
sounds like PlayStation, doesn't it? Though.
believable. So I'm pretty
It
sure
sounds
they
like
are
it
doing
sounds
it.
like them, dude. I don't know.
I don't
If
know.
anyone would do it, it'd be Sony for sure. But
I know.
that's just my opinion.
It just makes them look like
Well, I mean,
clearly
Sony's
the villains here.
they've always looked like that because they've always tried to do everything to like stop Xbox when Xbox was kind of just doing their thing. And they're always trying to like slow them down. It's like, dude, just focus on what you're doing, and that's gonna make your stuff better. But like I said, that's just my opinion, and that's what I've seen. But Sony's always kind of worried about what Xbox is always doing instead of just worrying about what they have to do.
And it's like Sony can't do the same thing for those games. Like try to put it on their PlayStation Plus, unless there's like a contract Xbox has with those games where they can't put it on any other subscription. But I really doubt it.
Yeah,
So
I think at this point Xbox has just been in the business of acquiring or just going into partnerships with different developers to try to get their games in Game Pass. Like that's what it's looked like for forever now. And and Sony, I don't know, man. Like I don't see the benefit to Sony paying developers to do this. Like sure, if there's more games on Game Pass, how does that really hurt Sony?
Oh, because then it's not exclusive. Maybe it's some kind of exclusive that Sony only has. You know?
Okay.
So if Sony's always been big about their exclusives, so
yeah,
if you're trying to take their exclusives, they're gonna fight back. Essentially.
That's true.
This is
fair.
their fighting back, I guess.
Yeah,
but just couldn't fight back with
but
MLB.
Yeah, I guess. But then at that point, you're not paying someone to not be on Game Pass. You're paying them to be on your platform. And what this made it sound like was like, hey, you're on both platforms, but we want to give you extra money so you don't go into the Game Pass subscription model that Xbox has been selling. So I think, I mean, more than anything, it makes PlayStation look like they're afraid. Honestly, like Game Pass, we know this. Game Pass is big. It's taking over. Like I just renewed another month of Game Pass just because I was playing through some old games that I hadn't played in a while. And man, it's crazy to think about how good Game Pass has been and how like PlayStation has just been trying to play catch up right now to that in the last few years. Like they've come out with really good one-off games that are exclusive to PlayStation. But now they're getting into the game of, okay, like we need to figure out how to get these to PC, right?
Oh, they're just so far behind, and like you said, Xbox has been getting acquisitions for. They've been working on this for how long? It seems like forever. They've been buying people little by little, and it just keeps growing. Yeah, it's like buying a library. They're just buying a literal
Yeah.
library of games.
Game Pass has to be at like a loss right now, I think.
Oh,
Like
I
for
bet right now, but
Xbox.
they have longevity. They have
Yes.
your money for $15 a month
I
for
know,
the
and
rest
they're
of your
backed
life,
by
essentially.
Microsoft.
Yeah, so it's I
Uh,
mean they can lose money and they don't really
Yeah.
care. It's
Microsoft's
later
not
down the
going
line they're
anywhere.
gonna later down the line they're gonna be like, wow, this was a great investment.
Yeah. I work for my like proper work for my career. I actually work really closely with Microsoft, and I've for the longest time I've been trying to just get in contact with someone over at Xbox just to be like, "Hey, like what's going on? What are you guys up to?" Like
Yeah,
I just want to know more cuz it's so crazy how their game plan has been so far, just
yeah,
having that subscription as a service model for games, and not only that, but like I know a big problem for a lot of gamers has always been like space on their console, and now you can just stream games through Game Pass, so you don't even have to download the game to launch it, and all that. There's so many games on there you can just stream through, and it
yeah,
actually works really well. And man, it's just they're they're leagues ahead right now, and they're doing really
yeah,
well.
yeah.
and, and
They're just. Oh, go ahead, Josh.
oh yeah, I was just gonna say, and they recently, I think they're gonna add, like, if you purchase the game and it's not on Game Pass, they're gonna add some of those games on cloud too.
Oh,
So
nice.
it doesn't necessarily have to be on Game Pass either. So I'm like, they're
That's
just moving really
crazy.
fast.
See, yeah, I mean Xbox just gets it right. They're just like I said,
Just
accessibility to games is what people want, and you're gonna pay the money that you. I'll pay $25 a month, $30 a month to be
Yeah,
able to play any game I really want to at the tip of my fingers, right? So it's like owning a block or going to a blockbuster every day and just
yeah,
getting a new game. So
yeah, soon you're not gonna need an Xbox at all.
I know.
yeah,
I I know
yeah.
that's true.
It's not about the Xbox. The Xbox doesn't make them money.
Yeah,
It's what the other stuff makes them money. So I think
Yeah,
Sony's still stuck on console sales
yeah,
and exclusive sales. That's the thing of the past. People don't want to pay $60 for a game.
yeah,
People
and
don't want to wait 6 months for a console. It's like,
that's true. Yeah,
yeah.
and I mean PlayStation, they understand that they're in this like predicament with Xbox because of how well, I don't know if you guys know this, but PlayStation plays really well with Apple products and stuff. So
Yeah.
like you know how if you get a native like Xbox 360 controller, you plug it into your PC, it works for the most part. It works like that with PlayStation remotes because I have a Mac and I have a bunch of Apple products, and if I just plug in my PS4 remote or just do over Bluetooth to my Mac, I can play games with that remote right away. Um, and there's an app, the PlayStation Stream app, that I downloaded on my Mac, so I can actually play like turn on my PlayStation with it and play the games on my computer, streaming it from my PlayStation. And so and that was just a app that was built for the native applications of Apple. So I think they might just be kind of going in that route, the route that Apple has been going, because they have native
Mhm.
software too. They have native software that does not work on PCs. Like you have like I know music producers out there that use Logic, and like you use that on a Mac, and like all this like other software like design software and stuff that only will work on a Mac. And it's because Mac has been in the business of creating these like high end products for their devices. And that's what Apple has done, right? You've seen it with the iPhone. I think PlayStation just thinks they're in that lane, and we can keep producing these high end games like God of War or these Spider-Man games. And if we pour enough money into that, we're able to keep our customers and grow. And and honestly, it's kind of worked for them. Xbox came out and said that like admitted that PS4 almost like doubled the amount of sales than the Xbox series did during that time. So I think that was really interesting to see them come out and basically say like, yeah, they outsold us. But
Yeah.
Game Pass, I don't know if people understand that Game Pass is still fairly new, right?
Yeah.
And I don't have this current generation console yet. But I don't know what those numbers look like as far as PlayStation and the new Xboxes. They're still sold out everywhere all the time. Like you still have
yeah,
to like they're back ordered. But even then, I think it's nuts how I think Game Pass might push Xbox over the edge to be able to edge out PlayStation finally in these console wars. But when it comes to the games themselves, PlayStation is still in the business of doing right by games and doing right by their fans, their PlayStation fans. Because I don't know if PlayStation would still be around the same way if we had Game Pass like all the way back to like the Xbox Ones, right?
Yeah.
Or the Xbox 360s.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, I mean, at the end of the day, Microsoft has PC and Xbox. So I think
Yeah.
the PC side, once they started to go to PC, it just created some kind of like stability for them. They don't have to worry. Like I said, they don't have to worry about how many consoles they sell.
That's true.
There's people. Everyone has a PC. People
Yeah.
have Microsoft. You can buy games on the Microsoft Store. So I mean,
Yeah,
it's
and
just accessibility is.
yeah, and then I know I shared the post that they're probably gonna release a PC launcher
Oh
for
yeah,
PlayStation
that
soon.
too.
So
Yeah, which is
so
smart. That's a good route for Sony to go. Like that's the route that they should focus on.
and then what they should do is that the PlayStation Plus games go on PC too. And then
Yeah,
I mean that'll get me to freaking get
yeah,
that
Look really
just to
closely
get
at
the
it.
subscription. Yeah, because I'm gonna like that's the reason why I don't really play PlayStation games so much because I already have the Xbox account, so I have a PC.
Yeah,
But they start releasing games simultaneously, PC and PlayStation, and that'll be interesting to see.
yeah.
yeah,
So I mean, with PlayStation, yeah, them launching their own or them creating their own PC launcher would be really cool. That came about because people were looking into the files of the new Spider-Man game that came out, and there was like notes in there about the PC launcher for PlayStation. So people were like, was this supposed to have its own PC launcher? Maybe it was planned and they just didn't get it done in time. But I mean, they would make they just from PC gaming alone. PlayStation is anticipating making about $300 million next year. When you release on a platform that's not yours, like Steam or the Epic Store, you have to give them 30% of your sales. So
Yep.
that's a lot of money to be. That's $90 million they'd be giving them
yeah.
for the year if they're anticipating $300 million in sales for their PC games alone. So if they have their own PC launcher, first of all, yes, they can release them at a cheaper cost, but also for like PS Plus members like myself, which is now like the lower level of the PlayStation service, which would be like the lowest level of Game Pass. Um, we have access to those games already. We already have Spider-Man, God of War. I like what games do I have on there? Because I subscribe to it monthly. I have all the Uncharted games, the BioShock games, and Uncharted is rumored also to be coming to PC soon.
Horizon probably is on there.
Horizon's definitely on there. So yeah, so all these games that I have just in my library, just I haven't even played all of them, right? Like I finished BioShock 1 and Uncharted 1 and 2, and I'm still like trying to go back through them, and it was funny because I mentioned I had Game Pass for this month. I got it last month because I needed to do the demos for Overwatch and for the beta testing, and I was looking, kind of comparing the libraries, and some of them like overlap, right? Like I saw like
Yep.
Slay the Spire on there, Hades, like a lot of the types of games that I like playing were actually on both. So it's interesting to see that there are games that are still being allowed to be on both. Maybe it's those types of games that PlayStation is trying to pay developers to remove it from Game Pass and keep it on theirs. And maybe that's how they're trying to be more competitive in the market now. So if they do come out with their own PC launcher that has their PlayStation Plus like essentials and all that included, I think that makes them very competitive in the market to be able to actually make people think twice about either getting Game Pass or getting the PlayStation Plus, especially if it's on a PC. Because obviously, if you have a PlayStation, you're not going to get Game Pass. If you have an Xbox, you're not going to get PlayStation Plus. But
Yeah.
once you have a PC, then it's competitive. You're like, okay, which one do I download? Or which one do I pay for?
PlayStation PC
Yeah.
Plus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then again, I mean, yeah, it's competitive, but it's a whole new, you know, uh, a new base of customers that you can get. So
Yes.
you're not really losing anything. You're still getting customers. You're
Oh,
still getting,
definitely by creating
so
this PC launcher
yeah,
and if they move forward with putting their like library their PS Plus library on PC, it's just gonna be a game for them. Yeah, they're not
Yeah.
gonna lose out on anything. The only ones that might lose out there is Xbox because now they finally have competition on the PC.
Which competition is good, so maybe it makes both of them better.
True.
In the end,
I don't know how much cheaper
everyone
Game
just
Pass can
wants,
get.
right? I don't think the price is the problem, you know.
Yeah.
And Microsoft isn't scared about competition. Like Phil Spencer even says, like, "Oh, I'm excited to play PlayStation games." He says it all the time.
That's true.
So
that's what I always admired about Microsoft. They respect the they respect the game. Like, they're willing to play, I guess, in a sense.
Yes.
That's a
if
they're gonna compete with them, let's compete.
Yep. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what comes about from this. I really hope there is a PC launcher. We get more these PlayStation titles on PC. Again, I think you've mentioned it before, Serge, several times. Like the more competition there is in the market, the better it is for us as gamers. Right?
Yeah, we're the ones that win, which is good for us.
Awesome. Up next, there was actually a pretty fun topic that we wanted to talk about. I'll have this one off to Serge because he was the one that came up with this one. Go for it.
Oh yeah, so we were thinking of the fun topic today was going to be, should games or developers or the games make changes based on pro players or the casual players, just because there's been a lot of backlash from Apex and a bunch of other games that they always focus on the pro players, and the gameplay is different for pro players and casual players. So are you gonna hurt your pro or your streamers that bring awareness to your game, or are you gonna hurt the people that probably the majority of your players, maybe 80% of your player base, 90% of your player base? So I just wanted to ask, I guess, what about you guys? What do you guys think about that?
For the most part, I think most streamers are casual gamers, not really pro gamers.
Yeah.
So I kind of group like the streamers in the casual game category or casual gamer category because a lot of them are not. Yeah, a lot of them are not pros.
That's true.
but I think they should cater to streamers, since a lot of people do watch streamers, rather than pros. Because I don't necessarily watch like pros like too much anymore. I used to watch Shroud like when he played CS:GO and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I used to watch Ninja when he played Halo, not Fortnite. So but I don't really watch too many pro gamers. I really watch just casual streamers like XQC. You want to they're gonna get way more of an audience than pro gamers, because pro gamers just stick to one game rather than the streamers that stream casual games, like different games. It's more. I feel like it'll be better to like appease them and listen to like what they say. I don't know. I'm just saying what my thoughts are.
Yeah, I mean, especially like you said, if they like their streamer, they're probably gonna follow what they say. So you're essentially, if you're targeting streamers and following their opinions, then you're probably gonna win over those fans of the streamers. But when they follow pro players, I guess the only good thing, I guess, is that they get the opinion of people that play their game at the highest level, so they understand the game probably the best. So in that sense, but again, pro play is way different than casual play. So it's tough. It's tough to really please everybody, but there has to be a middle ground. I think not many games, I guess, find a middle ground. Like Valorant's totally catered towards competitive play, and Apex is kind of like in the middle. They don't know where they want to go. Do they want to go casual? Do they want to go rank? Do they want to go pro play?
Yeah, it's like every season they switch back and forth.
It's just like, just stick to one. If you want to go pro play, let's go. Like, if you want to do casual, fine, that's fine. Like, just pick one.
Like, I feel Fortnite just went straight to casual mode.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with competitive mode casual. There's nothing wrong with casual, but it's almost just stop changing it every season, and people are gonna get tired of that.
Right.
A lot of Apex people are mad at Apex right now for a lot of the changes they've made, because it doesn't make sense at this point. Now they're just throwing stuff at the wall and hoping it sticks.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like when you're watching a pro gamer, like, it's hard to like get tips from them because they're already pro gamers, so it's hard to learn from them, rather than you watching like a casual gamer play and you see them make mistakes and you see them learn,
Yeah,
kind of
that's what
thing.
he said. That's where you
So
learn
it's
mistakes.
right. So it's a
Yeah.
little bit easier to pick up things when you watch streamers play. Like
Yeah.
it's like backseat. Like a lot of people like backseat gaming.
Yeah.
So, but but yeah, but like I watch Rocket League pros play, but I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna play like them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I'll try to find like a streamer that's like casual, like doesn't play all the time, and I can see like what they do and what I can do a little bit better, kind of thing, or what I can improve on. So I feel it's better
That's true.
to learn that way
Yeah,
because it's slowly learning. But yeah,
that makes sense. I think it really depends on the game, but I do
yeah,
think
Yeah.
they need to pick a lane. If you play the middle ground for too long, it's gonna fall off. And one game that I like to bring up as a game that played the middle ground for too long was Rogue Company. You guys know I was really big into
Yeah.
Rogue Company when it first came out. I really liked it, and I think they never found their footing because it was, yes, it was a fun game. It was kind of like a hero shooter, but at the same time they try to be super competitive, and
Mhm.
they had like certain modes that were highly competitive modes, right? And there were metas involved, and depending on the gun, but they just kept making changes so often and adding so many characters, and anyone that was trying to play this competitively would have to switch every couple weeks to like a completely different playstyle. And
I think
then
that's the company's fault though.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
and then
They do that with a lot of their games. I
it
think
was
it
and
was
high
Rogue,
High
res,
Res.
high res, yeah,
yeah, and
They did the
Rogue
same thing with
Company. Rogue Company
Royale.
was perfectly made for competitive. It was a Gears of War 2.0 essentially.
yeah,
It was made for competitiveness. Um,
yeah. But then they started
yeah, and I
adding
get,
like quirky things, and they were like, oh, we're gonna add these different modes so we can cater more towards the like casual gamers.
yeah,
And I don't think that game, personally, I think that game, like you mentioned, was always meant to be a competitive game. When you started getting into more casual play, it was really weird, and I just stopped enjoying it. They kept nerfing anything that was in the meta, like if sniping was really good, they would just nerf the damage. If then like playing like I liked playing like very up close and like with SMGs, and they started nerfing a lot of that too, and just everything got nerfed down so much and just slowed down the game so much, and to make it more appealing to the casual player, you weren't getting sniped every 2 seconds. But at that point it just became, I didn't enjoy it as much anymore because I was playing that type of game because it was competitive. At the time I compared it to Valorant, right? Because of that. But whereas Valorant focused on the competitive nature of it, and obviously because it's created by Riot and all that, they just kind of try to play the middle ground, and it didn't work out for them. I mean, there's still a Rogue Company. Like technically, a couple months ago, they finally came out of beta, but and I went back to play it a bit, and sure, it's fun to play for a couple rounds, and then I'm done. But there's no competitiveness in it anymore, and it is not the same. So I think it really depends on the game. A game like Apex Legends, though, because it is a battle royale, it has a competitive nature to it, but I think they just need to stick to like the team and more of the casual game in it. I know that they've tried to do like competitive tournaments and all that,
well,
and they get really fun, and I think there's a way to do that in a game like Apex. I think
yeah,
having a different competitive mode to just regular mode is a good place to start, but
yeah,
they would have to kind of like cycle in different guns maybe. And I know they can't change the gameplay too much, but what they can change is like the environments, and take out more of the like randomness of the game for the competitive play. And I
yeah.
think
I
that
mean,
would help.
the competitive scene for Apex is actually pretty. The last tournament they had, I mean, it was like I think a $3 million pool, and
Yeah,
it was amazing. I loved watching it. I mean, for a battle royale, I think it's one of the best battle
yeah,
pro scene that's been around.
yeah.
Besides maybe Fortnite in its golden age, it was amazing. But yeah, I mean, like you said, they have to pick a lane. I think they'd be better off going with the competitive lane just because
Okay.
it is made for competitive. In my eyes, there's just some of the maps that aren't made for competitive. They keep putting them on the rotation, and you said the gun changes, and just they're almost making the changes for casual players, but then it ruins pro play or ranked, et cetera, et cetera. So it's just I'm kind of scared that they're going to go the route, and it's not going to work out. Because I love Apex.
I think that makes sense. I kind of, I guess you're kind of making me change my mind now. I get maybe Apex should be more competitive, because I'm also thinking about Overwatch, and kind of like the stuff around that. It's like they had the Overwatch League that was super competitive, and a lot of times they literally changed stuff in game because there was just a meta in Overwatch League that made it unbearable to watch. I don't know if you guys watched the Overwatch League at all, but in the first season there was a tank meta that was so boring, and it was
the three tank meta.
Yeah, it was so bad, and they literally changed up the game where now you had to have 2 tanks, 2 support, and 2 DPS.
Yeah,
and what that did is it took away from like some of the fun of the game was being able to go in with 1 tank and like 4 DPSs.
It created creativeness, created not as much structure. Overwatch is crazy already. Like, it's fine, just leave it be crazy. Like, it's annoying as heck to play against a Winston, a D.Va, and a freaking Reinhardt. But, I mean,
and you're gonna get
those competitive
players. I think people need to understand that you're gonna run into those teams, and the thing with Overwatch is they actually kind of figured it out now, where like you can go into a mode where it's that competitiveness and there's 2-2-2, or you can go into just a free for all mode. And honestly, when I've played with my friends, and I'm in like a couple Discord servers with other parents, and we've gone into matches, we just go into the free for all because it's just so much more fun. We enjoy just switching it up, and like, I don't know, if I'm sucking at DPS, and one of the guys was like, "Get off DPS, like switch over to tag." I was like, "Okay, I got it." Like, it's just funny to interact in that way and be able to have that flexibility. But it's just, man, I miss those days. And and just the competitive scene affected the game way too much in that they had to keep making changes to it. And then what would be good for the competitive scene would then kind of fall apart for the casual players. So I don't know how good that is, because I remember at the time Genji was like super OP. There was a Genji in every competitive match. They nerfed Genji a bit, but someone that was like at my level, like I was at gold at the time, and some of my friends were even silver, then we couldn't even play Genji anymore. Because we can't play at a high level.
Yeah, he's a high skill character.
So we're over here on console trying to play Genji. That's not gonna happen. Like, so you nerf the character because he's too OP at the highest level, but he was balanced at a lower level, and then so what happens then? We can't play him anymore. So I don't know.
It's tough to please everybody, but I feel like you're better off pleasing one crowd. More than the other.
You pick your lane.
Fortnite was like, man, we wanted to be competitive. They tried it out. They realized they couldn't maintain it, so they're like, you know what, we're dropping that, because they were doing well. Because the competitive scene was amazing, and it's still going, but they don't focus on it that much. But they realized we're a casual game. We can have some competitiveness, but we don't have to fully focus on the competitive scene.
You realize a lot of players were like 10-year-olds.
Yeah, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I think, if you're going into a game that is competitive, you already know I'm expecting that. So, like you said, either pick a lane, because if I'm going into Apex and I want to be competitive, I know that's what I'm going to do. But if I'm going into Apex thinking it's casual and then I get ran on by 4 teams, I'm not going to have fun, So it's like...
You just have to know your audience, pretty much.
You know your audience, essentially.
Yeah. It's like this new battle royale that came out, the Rumbleverse. Yeah, that game's actually pretty fun. And
I don't like it.
Do you like it?
He has connection problems.
No, we tried loading a game for about an hour. The Epic Games, why do you guys have to make everything so hard? Like, just press invite, and just press start a game. Like,
Yeah.
I think you only had issues because it just got released, and probably there's a lot of people playing.
why do you release a game when it's not ready? I don't understand.
It
Just,
worked
I think
okay
a
in
lot of
beta
games.
though.
Yeah.
I guess it was a terrible experience.
I don't-
I
I
played
don't-
one game and it took 10 minutes to destroy someone, and I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, I don't think. Sometimes they don't realize how many people are gonna actually play it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it
But
happens with every single game.
I mean, what I was gonna say about that game is, I think they understand from the get go they're not a competitive game.
Yeah, and that's
Right.
fine. It's a fun game. It's like almost like what was that game called? Royale. The one with the chickens.
Realm Royale.
Rumble. Realm
Realm?
Royale.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like that.
It's
Yeah, in a
the
sense.
other game,
like
Hyris,
goofy.
ruined.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep. The other
yeah.
one they ruined.
That one was fun as heck, though. That was a lot of fun.
I
Yeah.
think they tried to make that one competitive, and then it just
Yeah, it's like
did not
that's
work
such a
out at
goofy
all.
game. It's this goofiest game in the world. Why are you trying to be competitive?
Yeah, they just like nerfed everything or trying to make it more competitive, and people just just stopped playing it after that.
Yeah. Yeah, and
It
then
wasn't.
on the other hand, you have games that you go into and you know this is gonna be a competition from the get go. Like, some of my friends still like playing Counter Strike, and I understand how sweaty that game is. You just go in and like, all right, let's do this. And same with
Yeah,
Valorant. Same with Valorant. We mentioned that.
yeah.
League of Legends. It doesn't even matter if you're not playing ranked. You're going in to
Yeah, League
win,
is.
or your team is gonna let you know.
Oh yeah, I haven't played the game in 10 years. Look, get back on it. Yeah, just
Yeah.
like they're just like hard typing you. Just what the heck?
Yeah. So
It's
and those games
it's part of
understand.
gaming.
They
It's part
understand.
of gaming. It's like I feel like if you come into gaming and you're not ready for that, then take a few years and
Yeah.
you know.
Or go to a more casual game.
Yeah.
I remember at the time I was playing League of Legends, and Hot's Heroes of the Storm had just come out, and I love Blizzard games, and I remember telling a couple of my friends, like, you know what, it's similar to League of Legends, it's just way more casual if you want to just come play one of these games, and it
Yeah.
really was, and they actually enjoyed it because we're able to have more of like a just kind of banter and having fun as we're playing this game, and I don't have to be knowing exactly what my teammate is doing at all times, like in some other competitive games. So yeah, so there's options out there. Like, if you don't want to play Valorant, there's other hero shooters that you can play that aren't as competitive. And the same thing if you're playing a casual game like Fortnite, but you want to play something a little bit more competitive, like, there's other battle royales out there that you can play that are going to be way more competitive, right?
Yeah.
So I think having that option is good. I just think any game trying to play the middle ground is going to fall off. It's not going to work.
Yeah, you're gonna get everybody mad. In a sense.
Yeah, because you essentially have two types of gamers. You have the type of gamer that's going in is like, I want to win every match today, or the type of gamer which I fall under is like, I want to come in and just have fun and relax at the end of the day, and that's how I look at it personally.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with either. It's just
Nope.
like you said.
Yeah,
That's how I feel.
I remember for a time I was grinding on Overwatch because I wanted to get to some of the higher levels, and that was fun, and I found that fun at the time, and then I just got tired of the grind and moved on to something else. So yeah, there's also moments like you'll find a certain game that you're like, okay, I want to be competitive in this, and move up. So yeah, I think it's important to recognize that too, like, what type of gamer you are and what you want to fall into, because it's easy, especially like as a new gamer, just try to play what everyone else is playing, but like I've recently fallen into a lane of like playing like a lot of like auto battler type games. I love playing TFT, Battlegrounds, and like the Storybook Brawl. Some of these games are super fun for me, and I can literally play them for hours with friends, and I'll jump onto the occasional like first person shooter and play those with friends too. But it just really exploring the different types of games. And I think that's why it's important having something like Game Pass that allows you to explore different games.
Yeah. For sure.
So, yeah. Good one. I like that combo. That's cool. All right, so we can move into our game recommendations for the week. Anybody want to kick us off?
Yeah, I could start off.
Yep.
I've been playing a lot of Rocket League, but that's not the one I'm gonna recommend.
I know
But
you were
usually, like,
playing right before the podcast, huh?
yeah, they're trying to invite me. I'm like, no, I have to go on the podcast really quick. But but a game I play after Rocket League just to wind down, like when I'm playing like by myself and there's like not good players playing with me. I play Power Wash Simulator.
Yeah.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's actually a pretty relaxing game.
it's
Um,
satisfying.
it's satisfying. You just like power wash, clean stuff, and then it usually takes about 45 minutes to beat like a level. But I mean, I just put on music, play it, and then just relaxing, just cleaning stuff.
Yep.
But it's like it's a pretty fun game.
Nice.
So I do recommend it to people if they haven't tried it. I know people think it's like a meme game, but I thought too until I started playing it. It's like Vicera like cleaning crew, I think,
Uh-huh.
or I forgot what that game was on the PC.
I don't
Um,
remember.
where there's like a whole bunch of blood, and you have to like clean up like messes, like the mess. So, like sometimes you're in Santa Claus's workshop, and there's an explosion, so you have to clean up like the L's, like body parts and stuff like that.
That's
So
ridiculous.
it's kind of it reminds me of that game because I used to play that game.
That's
So,
funny. That's
but yeah,
dope.
it's
Yeah. It's a good one. Yeah. Um, man, I haven't played anything new, man. I've been. Uh, I guess I'll play. I'll say. Play some Clash Royale. That's what I've been playing. I guess some Clash Royale or Apex. Play some Apex.
Yeah.
That's really all I've been playing. I mean, I have the recommendations just because I haven't played anything.
Yeah.
So,
Let us know what you
I'll
think of
pass
the
on
new
this.
Apex season, the new patch, because that's an interesting one
Yeah,
that got people talking.
play it. The new character is pretty fun. Um, yeah, like I said, the meta right now is a little bit wonky, and the map that's out right now is terrible to be thrown in the trash. But it's Kings Canyon on ranked. It's a terrible map, but it's the OG map, but it's just not
Yeah.
made for ranked.
Nope.
It's not made for ranked. Yeah, that's another thing. The Apex, please just if it's ranked, please stop bringing out maps that are not made for ranked. Please,
Yeah,
please.
for sure. My recommendation for the week is actually a game that you need to get this month. Um, I think I've actually recommended it before, but it's Hades. Hades won a couple Game of the Year awards. Super fun game. It's kind of like a dungeon crawler. You keep playing through. You die. You have to start the game over again, and but you keep some of your like powers and stuff that you've gotten throughout the game. It's on Game Pass right now, but it's actually leaving at the end of this month. So definitely recommend. If you haven't played it yet, I'm sure you can beat it in the next 10 days. And you can play through and beat it. I know it's interesting saying that because there's this game that came out years ago called Dead Cells, and I hadn't played it in a while, and I realized I never beat it. So, and I saw it was on Game Pass, so I started playing it again, and I got hooked on it. It took me like 2 weeks to beat it again, but or to finally beat it and kind of catch up and figure out where I was again. But it's the same type of game where it's like a dungeon crawler and you keep some of your power ups as you start over. So those types of games are actually pretty fun. You can get like a run or two in like half an hour, and it's interesting. You have to be okay with dying though. You have to be okay
Yeah,
with not beating the game over and
kind of
over
like
again.
it's kind of like Slay the Spire where you just keep on progressing it.
Yep.
Like every time you die, you just get like more unlocks and you get better pretty much. So
Exactly. Yeah, I love Slay the Spire. That's a good game too. But
yeah,
yeah, before Slay the Spire is also on Game Pass. But before you get that one, make sure you play Hades because it's gone at the end of this month. All right, and that does it for our podcast today. Want to make sure everyone is following Higher Passion on Instagram. They post on there all the other podcasts when they come out. So make sure you're catching Heroes and Mutants podcast. We're talking about all things superheroes on there. Our latest video on there is the DCU's news, and we're gonna be starting to catch up on Sandman and She-Hulk. Make sure you're catching the Sports Dogs. Sports Dogs are talking about baseball right now and all the moves happening ahead of the football season. So, especially any of you guys that do fantasy football, you want to listen in to Sports Dogs because they got some good recommendations on there. And yeah, and the rest of our podcasts, we have the Hooded Main podcast and all that is on the main Higher Passion channel. So make sure you're following us on there. Just want to thank everyone for joining us. Make sure to like and subscribe, share the video, and let us know what you think. GG's.
GG's.